Hello again. We are back from our, 6-month hiatus, give or take. But we decided to really get the people hungry again, manipulative. So a lot of changes since the last time we last saw one another. And that would be, first and foremost for me, I got engaged. Bow! Save the date. Don't show up if you're not invited, for real though. But yeah, the topic of today's video is what I have affectionately termed the end of my grueling 20-some-odd year discernment of a vocation. February 9th ended my vocational discernment. I, by the grace of God, and ultimately through a long series of prayer, being guided by the Lord, and ultimately just being honest with the desires of my heart, frequenting the sacraments, doing my best to grow in a life of prayer and holiness, realized that the Lord had given me this incredible gift. This incredible gift that was going to draw me out of myself, draw me into a life of service, a life of laying down my life for the good of the other. And that person's name is Katie. So we're pumped about that, but it's got me thinking about all the things that really led up to that, and just what an incredibly angsty discerner I was. And just really being thankful for no longer being in that position, but also my heart going out to so many people that I've known and discerned with coming up through the years. So, today's question: what does a healthy discernment look like? And when are we over-discerning? When are we just overcomplicating God's plan for our happiness? First, let me paint you a picture. You are a, let's say, male, having just graduated from high school. Maybe you're moving into a trade, maybe you're in college. You meet a nice girl. You've also really fallen in love with the Lord, and you think, wow, I'm really going to discern whether or not I want to date this girl. If that sounds like you, I want to go ahead and maybe save you a decade's worth of what could ultimately become incredibly scrupulous habits. If you want to ask her out on a date, do that. Just ask her out. Ultimately, if our will is oriented toward the Lord, if our intentions are good, if we're rooted in prayer and the sacraments, and it's an authentic desire to just simply ask the question, you can do that in good faith. However, I know that kind of in our culture, especially the young adult culture that is obsessed with certainty, obsessed with everything falling into place, everything having no gaps or vacuums, and ultimately having no vulnerability. Having no possibility of things coming to a soul-crushing halt. But the fact of the matter is, and this is what St. Augustine means when he says, love and do what you will. It doesn't mean, be a good person and then just, go hold up to 7-Eleven. Like, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, when you are authentically, genuinely seeking to be conformed to love himself, to God, then we can move with a great deal more trust that our will is in a line with his. Now that doesn't mean it's always going to be. No, that's why we do have a continued process of discernment. We have a continued process of asking ourselves, evaluating ourselves, having good friends with whom we're having those conversations, having a spiritual director, yes, all those things. But ultimately, the Lord's desire for your happiness is inescapable from the Lord's gift of freedom that he's given to you. That he loves you too much to give you a 5-year plan, right? Sometimes we're going to have to risk it to get the metaphorical biscuit, and that's the truth. So that's from a male perspective. As far as I know, it's very easy for guys. Friends of mine, guys who I've ministered with or to whom I've had the opportunity to minister are really focused on, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right decision? Well, a lot of times you're not going to know that until you've made some sort of action, right? Until you've taken a step, right? And that's one of the major rules of Ignatian spirituality. Let's evaluate our desires, see what's coming up in prayer, come to a decision of what action you want to make, and then do it. And then depending on what the effects are of this one, we'll go back through these, you know. But like I said, that's the male perspective. But what we really need is the perspective of the feminine genius. So, without further ado, I invite my fearless captain and leader in this office, Miss Olivia Galino, to give the female perspective.